Today, I'm going to be reviewing Overwatch Season 1. Just to clarify, this is not the first season of Overwatch 2, this is the second first season of Overwatch 1. Make sense? Good. This season includes 5 new hero releases: Anran, Domina, Emre, Jetpack Cat, and Mizuki, and I'm going to be playing and reviewing all of them. The gameplay footage is ordered by how much I enjoy playing the character, from least to most. Before I get into the reviews and gameplay though, I just want to say I was very pleasantly surprised by this update, especially given Blizzard's history of failed promises. You'll soon see why as the video progresses. Also, like my video about reviewing Vendetta, I am not an authority on any of the new heroes. I only have about a handful of games playing them as of the time I'm making this video. Emre. Now, allow me to share a take hotter than his weapon. Hotter even than Roadhog. And it's that he's not a fun hero to play. Easily the least fun out of all the 5 new heroes. I have multiple criticisms of his gameplay, from least to most important. First, nothing about his kit seems very unique or stands out, which is something I can usually attribute to every other Overwatch hero. While I do admit his weapon primary is satisfying to use, there are many other Overwatch heroes in the same role that match or beat him in satisfaction. Ashe, Cassidy, Hanzo, Reaper, and Soldier 76 all come to mind. His E just wasn't very satisfying to use in my opinion. His L-shift ammo runs out way too fast to make for interesting gameplay, and his ultimate seems like a copy-paste of his L-shift, only it's more powerful. I do want to emphasize, as I did earlier, that certain parts of his kit are fun, however the sheer number of negative qualities he has in his kit kinda overshadow the redeeming ones. Anran. Even though there are a few things I liked about her kit, I didn't have much fun playing her. The major problem I have with her kit would be her E ability. It is extremely awkward and clunky. So awkward, in fact, that I was originally going to rank her higher, but this flaw brought her down to 4th on the most fun heroes ranking. That said, there are 3 distinct positives her kit has that stand out to me. I really like how her ultimate is twofold, 1 as a burst damage tool and 2 as a resurrection tool. She has decent mobility, and I really like how the mobility is deployed. This is admittedly a bit of a minor point, but the first few times I played her I noticed how satisfying her reload animation is. All in all, if they kept what you do while using her E ability but changed it so it felt more pleasant to use, she'd be a lot more fun to play in my opinion. Jetpack Cat. Let me play this clip which summarizes my thoughts on the hero perfectly. Volume warning.
I love it oh my god!
Oh god! What?
That's amazing.
That is the worst thing in the world.
Ever released in the entire game.
Okay, I'm just kidding. Kind of. Let me start with the positives. First of all, Cat. Second, I find the game mechanic she has where she can transport heroes to be fun and extremely silly. Third, I don't know how, but Jetpack Cat's healing seems uniquely satisfying. For example, Zenyatta, one of my support mains, isn't very satisfying because you just press L-shift and the healing is done automatically for you. However, with Jetpack Cat's healing, it's probably the sound effects they used when she heals someone, and you need to aim to heal allies, which I typically prefer in supports. Zen is the exception. The main criticism I have of her is that her hitbox is so small that she is extremely annoying to kill, and this is amplified by the fact she has fantastic flight and movement abilities. An idea I have is to make the jetpack hitbox a little larger as a compromise between keeping her flight and making her easier to kill. Domina. My favorite tanks to play are Reinhardt, Wrecking Ball, and Zarya, 2 of which are somewhat and very mobile respectively, and the reason why I like playing Zarya is that while she doesn't have any mobility, she makes up for it by having interesting gameplay. The same is true for Domina. When I played her for the first time and used her primary fire, I thought, oh, it's gonna be a beam like Symmetra Zarya's, and then it exploded about a second later, which caught me off guard, but in a good way. I have 2 points about her shield. On the one hand, I really like how the shield is destroyed in segments as opposed to literally every other shield in the game. On the other hand, I feel like her shield is a little too big. It's not necessarily oppressive, but I think it lessens the fun of Domina counterplay. I think the 2 strongest parts about her kit would be either her E ability or her primary fire. Now, to be critical, I think Domina ultimate suffers from the same problem I pointed out for Emre, that the ultimate is very similar to one of her E abilities. However, Domina is considerably more fun to play because she doesn't have any of the issues that Emre has, in my opinion. Mizuki. I'm not gonna lie, Mizuki was originally going to be first in the video, but upon reflection, he is the most fun out of the 5. In general, one of the major things I look for in a fun hero to play is mobility, which is one of the reasons why Genji is my favorite hero in the game. Mizuki has a decent amount. Plus, the way the mobility is utilized here is somewhat unique. Using the Katashira return ability, then coming back to where you were originally gives me similar satisfaction to using Tracer recall on Tracer, another hero I enjoy playing, and am terrible at, but that's beside the point. I love the aura game mechanics surrounding him, like Brigida's Inspire passive. Brigida's another support character I really enjoy playing, so naturally I'm going to like playing characters similar to her. Mizuki's passive isn't identical though. Rather than it being flat healing that increases based on abilities and damage, they are separated into tiers from 1 to 3, and that's a cool difference too. This might be controversial, but I think the worst part of Mizuki's kit is his ultimate. Let me explain. I think that the best abilities, and while we're at it, ultimates are interactive and engaging. For example, Genji Dragon Blade. With Mizuki Ultimate, I don't really see either of those qualities. Overall though, really fun hero. Easily the most fun out of the 5. And that was the review of the 5 new heroes. If you disagree, perfectly fine. I'm willing to hear any opinions on these heroes. Let me know what your favorite hero is in the comments section. If I get a ton of Emre stands in the comments section, then I might just delete the Overwatch game file.